Okay. Hi, Rouge. Hi, abortion doulas. My name is Meta, and I am here today to talk about a few different things. Um, I want to talk about what it means to have abortion around ceremony. I want to talk about how we can work with spirit babies in abortion. And I want to talk about the 9-month process after having an abortion. Um, so where to begin? I guess we can start with what it means to have ceremony around abortion. So I know we're all have been reading The Great Cosmic Mother and having these conversations around our ancient ancestral feminine rights to our wombs, to ceremony, and to honestly these ancient matriarchal spiritual practices. And so it's really important that when we're, working with our wombs in any way, that we have this level of reverence for what's happening here. And especially with this choice, the sacred choice around whether or not we are willing or ready or able to bring life into this world. This is a choice that we can actually make in a lot of reverence and devotion to ourselves and the spirit that came in our wombs at this time, and with spirit. And so some ways that we can help guide women who are wanting to treat this process in a more deeper spiritual way. We can recommend things like having an altar during ceremony with sacred items, maybe items that represent our ancestors, maybe items that just are dear to us in our spiritual practices. And another recommendation is to have some specific special item on the altar that represents this spirit, the spirit of this child that came into our womb at this time. And so that we can like carry that spirit with us into the future. And I guess I'm going to be jumping around here in this conversation as different points arise. So I'll take a moment and also talk about what it means to work with um, the energy of the spirit that came in that is being aborted. So I don't know if you all have heard about soul contracts, which is this concept that we have these kind of soul agreements with one another, with the people in our lives that we encounter, with our parents, with our families, that we kind of came into this life with these soul agreements that we're here to like teach each other something. And when it comes to spirit babies, oftentimes we this agreement even to have an abortion is a you know what's the word I'm looking for. Basically it's this idea that these spirits come in because the initiation of abortion is important to our soul evolution and to our soul process and our soul learning. And like for me, one of the biggest soul lessons in abortion is like this radical choice to choose ourselves and to choose our lives and to choose our own path. And so when it comes to Spirit Baby comes in to teach us that lesson that we get to choose ourselves. And I talked to this really interesting woman. I like found this woman on TikTok talking about spirit babies, and I asked her for a phone call. And she said some really interesting things. One, she said it's one reason a spirit baby might come into the womb to be aborted is so that its only life experience is in the womb, which I thought was a really powerful point. And then, yeah, and she also like another thing that she shared that was really impactful to me was that like it's also like, you know, the right of the mother, of archetype of mother, whether it's a woman who's having an abortion who doesn't have children or a woman who does, that, you know, we have a right as mother to decide if this is the right time to come in, you know. And so some people say that spirit babies can be kind of upset and traumatized in the process of abortion. And, you know, when it comes to that, it's like this idea that it's like we get to make these decisions as mothers that don't always appease our children, you know, spirit baby or not. And so yeah, and some work that women who are maybe like feeling the spirit of their child or feeling this like soul inside of them, you know, if that ever comes up in our work with our clients, um, I'm going to create some guided meditations for women going through abortions who want to do work around this for the Rouge YouTube channel. But one thing that we can just guide women to do is to either verbally or through a letter, write a letter or speak to this spirit child and explain why we're making this choice at this time. Apologize that the spirit can't come in right now, and really ask for forgiveness and give gratitude for being chosen as this vessel for the spirit, and really like put in these kind of prayers that this spirit will be able to move out of the womb and back into the spirit realm to um, to kind of form in whatever way it will afterwards, and put in these prayers to, yeah, that spirit can cross over and cross through this threshold into the next chapter of its life in a good way. Another thought with spirit babies is this idea that also these spirit babies can serve as guides and actually stay with us, either to come in at a later time in our lives when we're more ready, or to just be with us and guide us. I know with my abortion, I really feel the spirit of that spirit baby still with me a lot and guiding me in many ways. And yeah, it's beautiful. So those are some thoughts about spirit babies. Um, and then I guess the next thing I'll get into is this idea of the 9-month process after abortion. So this is something that I'm like kind of channeling right now and really feeling for myself in my own process. I'm right now at this next full moon in April, going to be hitting this 9-month mark from my conception. I had my abortion last August, and so like this next April would be when I would have been giving birth if I didn't have an abortion. And this has been like a really big realization and process for me. And what I noticed in my own experience with my abortion, so I did my abortion in ceremony with my mom. I just happened to be visiting home at the time and was with my mom, and it was really, really special. And my therapist actually made this comment, and this is a big one to say, and it may be triggering to some, but my therapist really encouraged me to almost use the power of my abortion as this sacrifice to again make this sacred choice to choose myself and to choose my life's work and to choose my path, and that I could use the energy of this sacred life force energy that I was transmuting and releasing in my womb to like give that life force energy to my own life and to my own process of creation. And it's been a really epic 9 months. It's been the most important 9 months of my life, and I've given myself so fully to my life and so fully to my path and so fully to my creations. I've also noticed in my process of abortion that this seed of life activated my womb in a really big way. And my womb now has this um, power of creation. And so now after the abortion, my womb, instead of growing that life, has been growing my own life and my own path. And it's just been a really sacred, special process to honor these phases after the abortion. And especially right now, coming to this 9 month mark of like, whoa, I would have been giving birth right now. But instead, I'm like actually giving birth to these beautiful projects and visions that I've had for so many years and had so many blocks of bringing them through. And now they're really coming in and being birthed through me. It really feels like um, it has initiated a different type of birth um, within my body and my life. And so I really wanted to share that with you all. It's a fresh kind of idea that I have been feeling and channeling, and I'm planning on doing some writing about it and really kind of going more into depth and understanding what that meant for me and what it might mean for other women as they go into their abortion process and understand that they can like really use the catalyst of this really big life experience and marker in our lives of abortion um, to move through a deeper process within the 9 months following. So that is another idea. And yeah, just in and then going back to the original point of what it means to be ceremonial in our womb rights and our womb decisions. It's really a special magical privilege to be a woman um, because we are womb holders and that we are the portals of life and death. And so when we take this opportunity to be in sacred relationship to ourselves and our wombs and our choices and our abortion and our, menstruation and our births and all of this, it's like it gives it power when we give it prayer and when we give it a container and when we say, I see you, body, I see you, spirit, and I know we're about to go through a really big, deep process, and let's honor it well and let's honor it right, with prayer and with sage, and plant baths are really beautiful things we can do and guide women to do. It's like gathering these herbs like ruda or rosemary, roses, butterfly pea flowers, like just going to their local herb shop and asking for support and picking the right herbs for them to support them through this process. And then we can boil all of these herbs that we choose to use in a big pot and let it kind of cool down. And then like me, before I took my abortion pills, I did a plant bath so I could really cleanse my body and my spirit to really start this process in a good way. And so we can make this plant bath and then pour the water over our body and give our souls and our spirits and our bodies this deep cleanse before we go into this process of abortion. And for me, I did plant baths all throughout my abortion process, through the bleeding and the crying and the screaming, to really not only release, my blood and the physical layer of this, but cleanse the spirit too and the body and all of that. And so that's like one example of a tool we can use to make this a more ceremonial container of the abortion. And then, of course, there's like the burial of blood and the collection of blood, which, some women might want to do, have this interaction with their blood and what they're releasing from their womb at this time. And so there's some different ways you can do this. When it's a later term abortion, there might be like an actual fetus that comes out, and there's processes of kind of feeling when it might be coming and catching it in a bowl and then taking that and burying it. For me, I just actually took some like cotton swabs and I just swabbed some of the blood that was coming out throughout the abortion, and I kept those and I planted them in actually different places that were important to me in my soul's journey. And I have a vial that I put the herbs that were supporting me through my abortion and a cotton swab with some of my blood, and I keep that with me on my altar and will keep that with me moving forward into my life. And that's my sacred item from my abortion is actually keeping that blood with me. Yeah, I think it's just really a revolutionary act to return to these more primordial ways of relating to spirit, because the patriarchy and different religious systems have kind of had us kind of tame these ancestral ceremonial ways and kind of fit our relationship to spirit in more of these boxes. But I really believe that we get to each have our own spontaneous relationship with spirit, our unique relationship with spirit, and that we get to really have our own conversations with what we believe in, and take these actions of prayer and of cleansing and of honoring our processes, and do it in ways that feel good to us. There's no one right way to do any of this. And so we can guide women, give them some like kind of markers of things that work, and things that can take them deeper, but then also inviting women to follow their own intuition around this, around what it means to be in prayer with their abortion and with their spirit baby and with all of this, and so just really inviting people to be in relationship with their own spiritual practices, and giving them good tools like plant baths and blood burial, and having the right playlist, and having these herb allies maybe to also drink tea throughout, and having the altar and an altar item for the baby that's being released back to the spirit world. These are all really good tools, to suggest, but then also this invitation to find their own voice and their own guidance from themselves and their spirits and their spirit guides on how to do this in a way that feels best to them and their spirit. Because we're here to empower women. We're here to empower women to make this sacred choice, and for those women who desire it, we're empowering those women to take their ceremony into their own hands and do it in the way that feels good, right, and true to them. So I think that's all I have for now. I'm in the toolbox group. There will be I am working with some other beautiful sisters here, some other beautiful doulas, and we've been working together to create this spiritual toolbox for how to kind of support women with these tools. And so you guys all will have access to that. That'll have lots of written information about all of this, so you can review that too, and bring it into your work. If you so choose. And me and Lindsay were talking about how we might have this, option for clients to kind of say what type of support they need. So women who are seeking spiritual support can be matched with doulas who have that experience and that inclination to want to do that work, because I know this work isn't for everyone, and that's okay too. But thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and for doing this really, really beautiful sacred work of supporting women and their wombs and their abortions. I appreciate you all so much, and I'm so, so honored to be here doing this revolutionary work with you all. And cheers to what we're bringing in. Peace, love, and many blessings.